listening to the other show. Yes, it's the other show. It's not that show or any other show. It's simply this show. The other show. The other show. And we're sure glad that you're here listening to the other show. This is the other show. In case you didn't know, it's the other show. Kenny, Josh, and Spencer now have this show, the other show. It's this show, the other show. Welcome to the other show. Welcome to the other show. Welcome to the other show. It's this show, the other show. Oh!
It's a great question to kick off the show. Like, because we already want to talk about bucket lists.
Mm-hmm.
But what about Make-A-Wish? Like, Make-A-Wish kids. Like, what is the limits to Make-A-Wish?
Well, I feel like anything beyond Walt Disney World is probably off limits.
But what would you consider beyond Walt Disney World? Like,
I don't know, bringing back the dead, falling in love.
read the room, Josh. This is Make-A-Wish kids. Don't ask them to bring back the dead.
This is not the best way to start the show.
What are you talking about? It's a great way to start the show. Like, can you ask for a trip to Europe? A cruise?
Yeah. I have to say, though, like, whenever I see those Make-A-Wish kids who are like, I want to be a fireman, like,
tread
cool,
lightly,
cool,
Josh.
Right? No. I know.
It's
I'm just
probably
saying.
not the right time for this.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
It's bad timing altogether.
I mean, we were joking about Josh naming his niece Ember or Ashley.
Or Ashley.
yeah.
She lives down. Yeah.
I don't read the room very well, so. But no, I'm just saying though that like
Blame your dyslexia.
for the yes, well, it's auditory processing disorder, but
Very, yeah, okay.
you know what I'm saying is you know these kids who wish that you know they're a fireman, right? And so then they put him out on a fire truck, and you know his wish is granted. I'm like, that kid should have gotten more, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Are you talking like a calendar?
He's
or
not gonna
what
use it
kind of
much longer.
calendar?
Or like a free Dalmatian or something?
Yeah, like there should be more than just putting the kid on a fire
Or like
truck.
bust open a hydrant?
Yeah.
Right?
Doing something, you know, like
Do you think like their parents are there coaching them like Disney World or cruise, Cancun?
I will say this, and Marianne right now knows exactly what I'm going to be saying, but with my nephew, because he's doing his Make-A-Wish here in a few weeks to Walt Disney World, Marianne kept putting in his ear, Hawaii. I'm like, honey,
Is that evil?
I'm like, honey, this is his Make-A-Wish, not your Make-A-Wish. So then I made this promise with her. Okay, once you finish your bachelor's degree, which is happening here in about 6 weeks, I will grant you a Make-A-Wish to Hawaii.
Oh, that is cute. You can't afford that, but we'll get into that later.
No, I was going to say, because now that Make-A-Wish is like
Just a wish.
going to Taco Time to get a Dole Whip, because that's the extent of what we're going to be able to afford after spending $7,000 on our free cat.
Okay, so when last we discussed your cat, it was very cat-centric season premiere. Yes, Spencer?
Is this $7,000 total, or is this an additional $7,000? I need clarification.
You mentioned
total.
You
This
mentioned
is total.
5,000.
Okay.
And we said, like, what's too much? $5,001? And we kind of were like, yeah, maybe that.
Yeah. No, it's $7,000 total. So Walt had to have surgery. He got backed up again. Had his kidney stones get in the way.
Yeah.
So essentially, we had to have a sex change of this cat. So they
It's
cut
a
off
eunuch. It's a eunuch.
You can't just place another
No,
gender.
they cut off the ding dong.
Yeah,
They
sure.
opened up the urethra.
But it's not like he got boobs.
Franklin.
I'm just waiting for that. And you know what? I would accept him however he wants to live his life at this point, because
He's like,
I want him around. I want him around because I just spent $7,000 on him.
I know you want to change his name to Lily.
Yeah, we actually decided on a name for him because his name is, Walt or Walter.
Yeah.
So we decided on naming him Walter.
Oh my God.
So we can still call him Walt.
I was gonna suggest, since it's not a sex change, he's a eunuch.
Mm-hmm.
You name him Sazed, but there's only a very small percentage of our listener base that understands that.
Yeah,
So
and I'm not one of them.
Yeah, Spencer.
KP very
Neither am I. Josh,
I made KP
Thank
and Patrick
you.
Rhodes very happy. Okay, that's all.
do you want to explain your joke, or do you just want to talk down to us?
No. You're not in the end. Everybody else in the state of Utah is in on it, but you're not.
One of our co-hosts is being condescending to us. That's a touch of nostalgia right there.
Whoa.
It's
Energy's
just-
way off. Shut it down.
Let's restart the show.
Look. Changing topics.
Or
No, we're not changing
Ken, I
topics.
know-
I want to talk about how sad Josh is about his cat.
Okay, fine.
It's just so sad. Save it,
It's-
Spencer. So hold on. Did they give you a guarantee that your $7 million cat now will outlast this? That Wanda, whatever, Walter is going to be
Walter.
fine. Yeah.
And does he have bionic pee-pee powers?
Yeah, like what's the guarantee?
I wouldn't say that they gave us a guarantee, but they did say that cats who have this procedure generally don't have reoccurring problems. Granted, we also have to make sure that he eats prescription cat food now, which
How do you
a
stop
little
him from eating
expensive.
Roy's food?
We're just gonna put Roy on the same
Prescription.
cat food.
Okay,
and they
that
said
makes
that
sense.
that's fine.
Okay. Poor Roy. He's like, I gotta suffer too.
Well, and it's so interesting though. The hardest part about this whole process, like getting Walt back was great, and then getting his energy back was a few days, if that, and he was back to his old self, just in a cone for 2 weeks, which makes nighttime really interesting because all of a sudden you're laying there in the middle of the night and then you get a cone right in your face. But
Hey, better than what he got. All right.
True.
Better
Yeah,
than what you did to him.
That's the least you could do.
Yeah, I'm minorly inconvenienced by this cone in my bed.
But the thing is, and I didn't realize this about cats, but generally speaking, cats, like when you separate them, like take one to the vet, it can be a few days or so for those cats to get used to each other again, because cats identify each other by their smell.
Oh.
And when they smell differently to them, that's some type of like a defense mechanism in their mind or whatever, that they're either sick or something's wrong. And so they'll get kind of hissy. They'll swipe at the other cats or whatever. And
But
that's
they're
right.
siblings. Like, yeah,
Well,
one came back moderately different, but they're still siblings.
so Roy has been very like off-puttish with Walt, and Walt is the extrovert cat, and Roy is very introverted, very calm, very not all over the place.
Roy's kind of bigoted.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
Roy's gonna tease Walt.
Just like the real Roy Disney.
Oh
But
my
no,
God.
exactly though, because Walt just wants to play, and Roy he'll get hissy, and so we've had to separate them at night. They're getting better, but I'm sure that they'll be fine.
Okay,
I have a
so,
product for you.
Oh yeah, tell
Kitty-
us more about this product, and also, can you include a link? Because I'm too lazy to look it up.
I will send you the link again. But they're kitty diffusers, and they put hormones into the air, and they
don't
calm
work.
your cats down. What?
They don't work. We got one.
Where'd you put it?
We put it upstairs.
There's your problem. It's
Where do you
only
put it?
upstairs.
Where'd you put it then?
We put one downstairs and one upstairs because we have 2 floors, and it has made a world of difference between Ethel and Dot. who used
Also,
to fight all the time.
you're actually quite peaceful ever since you installed that. So yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, I still get a little testy.
Hey, too soon to say testes, okay? So, Josh, it feels like gambling at this point. Or like it's like something you've sunk so much money into. Obviously, you said you need Walt to stick around because you've just sunk money into Walt.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm not even gonna ask.
Oh, you were gonna ask. No, I know what you were gonna ask, and we actually had this conversation.
Okay, I'd actually like to know. Like, I'm morbidly curious.
Honestly, if it's anything more than $2 or $3 grand, I'm throwing him over the Rainbow Bridge myself.
Well, no, you're at sunk cost fallacy now.
Yes, right.
How much is it to taxidermy him?
Oh gosh, probably $600.
Okay, next vet bill. If it's over $2,000, you got $2,000 to $600, but you can still keep him around.
I feel like your mother-in-law would be able to do that for us.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. I was just gonna ask if we have any listeners that are taxidermists. But by the way, Josh, his mother-in-law listens to the show. She may resent that remark unless she actually does that.
She does not do that. If she was in charge of Walt would have never had kitty stones.
Oh,
hey, and Kenny, you may one day be able to get Fridge.
When we catch him.
Speaking of condescending co-hosts, Kent, you recently were in Southern California for a media gig. I know you can't talk a lot about it because you signed an NDA.
I signed an NDA. I mean, very discreet, obviously.
But aside from the media stuff, did you get to do anything fun?
I did a few things fun. Some of them I can't talk about. Some will be discussed at a later date for sure. Okay, I'll say this. Obviously, there's a huge natural disaster over in LA. And, to bring the room down a little bit, because talking about unit kittens didn't do that enough. But
and cancer.
Or make a wish. But obviously the fires in LA are insane. I don't know if you guys saw the difference between the Great Chicago Fire of 1906 compared to the LA fires. Mm-hmm. The LA fires dwarf them, right? They're just incredibly sad. 24 people have died in them so far. Tens of thousands of acres, tens of billions of dollars in damage, right? It's insane. And I was about to go to LA. I was pretty close, within 50 miles. And I didn't see, a couple people reached out and they're like, do you see the smoke? And I didn't at all until I got to Huntington Beach. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if there's probably weather stuff that goes into that, because inland, nothing, I couldn't see anything, but along the shore, the smoke just travels along a shoreline. And it was nuts. I mean, it was gross outside. And I couldn't even imagine being in LA and breathing that in and dealing with, outside of the actual damage to property and lives.
Yeah.
Just insane.
Well, my brother lives in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And
what do you have to say about it?
Well, at first, it took a while for them to really see any of the effects, but they were starting to get the ash down there. And it was getting on their windshields and everything. But honestly, for him especially, because he does security for firefighters, right? Mm-hmm. So he declined the job this week, mainly because his wife was having a baby.
Yeah.
And probably good that he was able to decline that, just because of the chaos that is going on.
Right.
But it is, it's night and day from what it seems like between Orange County and LA.
Yes. Yeah, it is. I flew back 2 nights ago, and you could see the fire from the plane, and it was crazy.
I was going to ask if you flew or you drove.
Yeah, so don't worry. Flew, and whereas Long Beach Airport used to be my favorite, after a 8-hour delay in flights for no apparent reason, it's not my favorite anymore.
No apparent reason.
Long Beach?
Really?
Yeah, Long Beach.
Fire?
I love it. Oh no, it wasn't
no
the fire
reason?
stuff. No, it was more of plane issues, which it just seemed like luck altogether.
Was it Southwest?
Delta, actually, strangely.
Really?
But it was annoying, and because like I love Long Beach Airport, I think it's adorable. But because it's so adorable, there's nothing to do there. And when you're stuck there for most of the waking day, you're like, oh, what should we eat? Burgers that are $23 or a burrito, a bean and cheese burrito for $15?
No, what you do is you get the cheese quesadilla there. They also have really good Greek food. Like
I got
the carne copita is
Josh, you're acting like I didn't get both. I actually got the carne asada quesadilla and the Euro platter because we were there all day. I would have rather been in a big airport. It was not pleasant.
Kent, did you at least expense it to your company?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And we did get vouchers for meals because we were held out for so long, but we're also going to try to get vouchers for the flights. We'll see.
You should.
We'll see what happens, you know. But I will say this. I did kind of reveal this on Instagram. Instead of going to LA, I decided to go to a place that I've thought about since the 90s. And I don't want to like ruin the big story, but
Portland.
I went, oh my gosh. And I try to stay out of Portland. I went to medieval times.
Yeah.
Medieval freaking times. Spencer, the only way that you would be able to go, like with having a good conscience, is with the two of us. No joke. It's one of these things that I'm like, ever since I saw Cable Guy back in the day, I was like, I want to go to medieval times. And then I thought like Blockbuster probably died in the 90s. But guess what? There's 10 nationwide. And when I tell you I had as much fun there as I did at WWE SmackDown 2 months ago, because it's the exact same experience, I had the time of my life. The tickets were $80-something with a discount, and it was one of the best dining experiences I've ever had.
Because you use your hands to eat chicken.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not just that. You cheer for a night, and you have sides, and when your night doesn't do well, it's kind of devastating. And when they come back, it's awesome. It really just was something that I'm like, what am I doing here? And why do I love it so much? It's kind of like a demolition derby. You're like, oh, I'm white trash for enjoying this. But you know what? I'm okay with that.
Because you're classy because it's medieval times.
Yeah. And they're speaking in British accents.
Oh, yeah. No, I've been there once. Yeah.
Swords.
Yeah, swords. Wait,
I went there once.
How old were you?
It was high school. It was my senior year, and it was during my senior trip. When we went down there, we went down to SeaWorld, Disneyland, Universal Studios. Oh gosh, what's the aquarium? Is it not Dana Point? I can't remember. There's anyway.
I don't know.
It was they called it a science senior trip.
Sure.
And
yeah.
Disneyland. I don't know where the science is in that one, but.
Stephanie, we need to go to medieval time for science.
For science. You truly do. I don't think it's a place that you can justify taking anyone in your family or kids because the tickets are so expensive. It's something that you're like, I can pay for my ticket and my ticket alone. And then I'm just going to enjoy this because I'm not spending hundreds on average food, but a really good time.
Now, I'm just going to have this conversation with you right now because I know my wife is listening.
Yeah.
You're telling me that I should go to medieval times with you two and not my wife.
Yes.
Because I'd have to buy my own ticket and I should not buy her a ticket.
It's not that. It's the fact that she'll, she may love it as much as you do, but she'll go, we could have had the best meal experience ever. Like we could have had actually great food. In fact, I wanted Din Tai Fung, which I was like, I love dumplings, I love bao buns. And I could have had amazing amounts of food for getting a half chicken, potato, and a piece of corn. But you know what? The inner 90s kid in me loved it. And I don't know if Stephanie would, Spencer. I don't know if Stephanie would, but I don't want to speak for her.
Just going to say, we went to that magic show at, it's not Thanksgiving Point, Gardner Village.
Okay.
And the tickets are like $80 each.
Oh, jeez.
But the food was really good and the show was great. We had fun. We also didn't buy our own tickets. So,
I mean, that's the thing. You're buying tickets.
Yeah. I would love to go. And I'm sure my wife would love for me to go by myself with you guys or have her tag along. But I might have to consult Walt on any future veterinary bills.
Wait, you're like, are you going to get any kidney stones? Because I can't afford this right now. No, listen, we're just going to go to somewhere in like I don't know, West Valley Del Taco and watch people fight in the parking lot and just call it medieval times.
Rancheritos.
We're going to go to Rancheritos in Kearns.
Rancheritos at 2:00 in the morning.
I mean,
there's no better entertainment.
And we're going to throw 2 swords and shields out to the parking lot.
It works. He's not wrong. Yeah. Inevitably, by 2:30, you have a show. And plausible deniability.
Yeah. That's all I want, a show and plausible deniability. That's what I pay the big bucks for at Rancheritos. Not Beto's, but Rancheritos.
So, kind of speaking of late night, or speaking of the West Side crime and everything, I posted about this last week that we had this incident behind our house where there was an arrest. Somebody had robbed the 7-Eleven and the Holiday in the middle of the day. I don't know if you saw this.
Explain the geography, like compared to where you live and where these gas stations are.
So this is on about 104th.
I mean, you don't have to tell us where you live, but yeah, it was like close to you,
right? Yeah, so it's pretty close. It's just right off.
As a former neighbor to Josh in that neighborhood, they are about 100 yards, maybe 150 yards from his house.
Yeah. So it's a nice little, like during the summer when I work remote, I'll go walk down to the Holiday or the Sev for a pop. And, it's a great little.
Oh, you're bringing pop back. Really?
Yeah,
pop.
Or a Slurpee. Oh, yeah.
Not a soda, but a pop.
Nope, just a pop.
He went there for a dog the other day and he didn't invite me and I was hurt.
Wow.
Well, I had to get a wiener in honor of Walt because... Yeah.
He doesn't have one.
Anyway.
By the way, Spencer, really quick, with being as vague as I can, the pickles are sold out. Anyways, Josh, go on. Yep, pickle shortage. I'm not even kidding you. Pickle shortage. Okay, Josh, go on. Sorry, Spencer, I had to break it to you.
Back to the story.
I knew you'd be so upset. I tried. I went 3 different places, and they're like, throughout the park, I'm all... It's the morning. What do you mean pickle shortage? Anyways, Josh, go on.
Wow, you derailed that worse than Spencer could ever derail a show.
Pickle shortage. There's so many different directions I could go with this.
That's why I'm going to keep telling the story. So anyway, this robber robbed both the 7-Eleven and the Holiday in broad daylight, right?
Yeah.
Now, the location of this as well is not that far from the South Jordan Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
So this kid, the first thing that came to my mind when I heard this is, I'm like, what an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get away. And they didn't, because the cops, as soon as he robbed the 7-Eleven, they were on it, right? And then he went to go rob the Holiday. So
I'm sure, like, kind of like banks or whatever, it's like any gas station gets robbed, puts the word out, any close by gas station, even though nothing will probably happen because people shouldn't be that dumb, they'll probably be on alert.
Right. So seeing this and everything, and Marianne right now is probably just horrified because she hates the way that she sounds in the video that I posted. And
we all hate the sound of our own voice, and here we are.
Yeah. She's like, I sound like a blubbering idiot because I'm just, I'm crying and everything. I was like, honey, you sound like somebody who's concerned that doesn't want to see this kid shot, right? Because just the night before, cops in South Jordan had shot and killed somebody who pulled a gun out on them. So I can understand your anxiety of this moment and seeing it in live time. And that was part of the reason why I didn't even understand what she was yelling at, because I was in the bathroom.
You were, and she's like, "Come out, come out!"
Yeah, and all this, I just heard, "It's a standoff," and I thought she said, "Grab Walt," because I'm like, "Oh, great, the cats are not getting along. I need to go, separate them or whatever."
Sure.
And I come running out of the bathroom, and then I see the cops out in the backyard and everything, and so it was scary. But at the same time, seeing him being held at gunpoint, that's when
Walt?
No,
he no longer has a gunpoint.
No,
okay.
No, he doesn't. But no, that's when I started recording, because I'm like, if something happens, something should be documented, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
in talking about this with Kenny P, my spiritual and temporal leader,
the Batman to your Robin.
Yeah, we were talking about how big of an idiot this kid was. Like, if he got away with this burglary, he would have been a legend, right? Because the odds were against him. Well, a couple days after this happened, there was an article that came out, and this is, let me just read a little bit of this. So the suspect, his name is Jackson Gary Ewell, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. But this is what happened. So prior to placing the suspect into custody, the suspect dropped the knife when officers told him to.
Okay.
And the suspect admitted to robbing the 2 gas stations earlier that day. He described entering the stores with a knife, demanding money, and receiving cash in a garbage bag. He mentioned he was wearing a mask to conceal his identity. The suspect also stated that he had been influenced by a friend who had committed similar robberies. So he's a snitch as well. That's not going to
Yeah, seriously, because this other guy's going down.
But he told the officers that his desire was to make money to leave his parents' house. He mentioned his parents had taken away his phone, which contributed to his frustration and decision to commit the robberies.
Oh, that makes sense.
Jeez.
Then Jackson, and this is from the arresting officer, Jackson asked me multiple questions on what jail was like and how he was excited to go. Jackson said going to jail was on his bucket list. He said that it was going to be fun being in jail. Not when you're a snitch.
And
this is...
There's just got to be, like, I don't know, not felonies that take you to jail, right? Some misdemeanors, maybe?
Yes.
Like,
but here,
maybe do some vandalism.
No, that's community service.
Oh, dang it.
This is my favorite part. The suspect also mentioned his various allergies and requested that the jail be informed of his dietary restrictions.
So he may get the runs. Yeah, and they're like, sure, yeah, that's great.
I've got a peanut allergy.
Although, watch
gluten.
Maybe the prisons
they do
really
actually take that very seriously, actually. Yeah.
Well,
not the gluten, but the peanut one. Yeah, they'll take that. No legumes.
Legumes. Yeah. Well, it's something like that. They're not going to go easier on the kid because he's like, I wanted to be here.
Yeah, my parents took away my phone, and so, and this is on my bucket list. I don't know.
Well, that's
got a lot of growing up there, I guess.
A great question, though, and it's kind of circular. It brings us right back to the beginning of the show. Bucket lists. I'd love to know, guys, what is your Make-A-Wish wish, and what is your bucket list wish? That's like
I don't know if people will answer the Make-A-Wish wish, but bucket list, I think we can ask them. But if you just want to say it's your bucket list thing, but it's actually your Make-A-Wish thing, that's all right.
Yeah, what's the difference? What's the difference, though?
Age.
Yeah, it's
true. That's true. One you can afford, and one is given to you.
And I think bucket list is something. It's like going to like one of the great wonders of the world. Maybe
it's like aspirational.
Yeah. Or it's like write the great American novel. Well, you can't do that for Make-A-Wish.
No.
Which apparently caps at Disney World, according to Josh.
We have AI now. That could be a Make-A-Wish. No, okay. So if my Make-A-Wish actually would probably be Disneyland Paris. I know I'm Disneyed out, but everything that I've seen online, especially from YouTube influencers and everything, Christmas time at Paris, at Disneyland Paris is just remarkable. Like, I would love to go. And I wanted to go when we were in Paris 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
But no, we have to go to Versailles.
My Make-A-Wish would be to have a sleepover in a castle, like or possibly a palace like Versailles, but honestly, like a old British castle, not ruins, because I feel like that's just a ghost hunt. But I would want to have a sleepover in a castle
with all the Disney princesses.
No, I just think it'd be cool to roam the halls and just have like a cool sleepover. And I'll bring my rollerblades and roll through the halls. It would just be.
That sounds like a sequel to Blank Check.
I was actually gonna reference Blank Check.
Yeah. So what?
I have no problem with it. It's your Make-A-Wish.
Does that include the really awkward FBI agent that's like 17 years older than you while you're still a minor hitting on you?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, good call. I think bucket list, I don't know, it's different because travel is like kind of like the go-to. I'm trying to think of places I need to go that would be tough to do on my own, right? Because I don't necessarily need to see the pyramids. I don't need to walk the Great Wall. I would like to do it, but I don't know if there's a need.
You could just do that riding Soarin' anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Or at least stick your legs out, get the smell a little bit, and pretend. Yeah, that's a good question. I actually want to know, from everyone listening, what's your bucket list thing? Right? Not Make-A-Wish, because we don't want to become
your
doomsayers.
Make-A-Wish is your lesser one. So, for example, like my Make-A-Wish would be a D&D session with Brandon Sanderson, because that could actually happen. You know?
Yeah. Even you just saying that, he's probably listening, going like, yeah, call me.
He probably already wrote it by the time we finish this episode.
Yeah.
Whereas like a bucket list one would be like one by George R.R. Martin, because that's never going to happen.
Okay. My Make-A-Wish is that Christopher Nolan allows me to sit with in a brainstorming session for one of his movies, and I get a writing credit.
Yeah, that is a Make-A-Wish one. Like that's doable.
I would love that. That would be my thing.
Josh, you want to pitch a sitcom about your family to somebody? Like that's a Make-A-Wish. That's doable.
Yeah, there we go. That will be my Make-A-Wish. My bucket list then would be Disneyland Paris at Christmas time.
You know, if you stop getting so many cats, you can make it there like next year.
I know.
That's true.
Like honestly, the price of going to Disneyland California is kind of the same.
No, it really is, because I actually price checked it, and you can find airfare pretty cheap, especially around November, and that when they have the Christmas decorations up.
Yeah.
And it's generally about $500.
Yep, it is.
So round trip. So then when you get there, you can actually stay at the Disneyland Hotel, and your tickets will cost you much less than like a day at Disneyland California.
And lines will be less.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, because everybody hates Disneyland Paris.
No, they have good PR now. Now that
better.
It's not Euro Disney.
Better.
Yeah.
It's better. Yeah.
Wait, why Paris instead of like Disneyland Tokyo?
You know, actually, maybe I'll change my bucket list to going to every Disneyland park.
Oh my gosh, guys! If the three of us went to Tokyo, imagine how many pictures people would take of us. We'd be freakish giants.
Oh,
just really quick, I need to apologize for the clickety clack that everybody just heard. I was doing.
You were doing research. We all know the sound.
I was doing research. Yeah. They love the sound. Josh edits it out, I'm sure.
Well, actually, I keep it in because I find it very soothing.
It is kind of soothing. Josh, $831 is the price to go to Disneyland Paris in a package deal, including flights per person. So for about $1,600, you and Marianne can go spend 3 days at Disneyland Paris, airfare included.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. I mean, compared to California,
that's like a half Walt.
That's a season pass.
That's a half Walt.
That's a season pass just to the parks at Disneyland California.
Josh, our medical debt for having 3 kids in the hospital in the last 3 years was less than Walt.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that from many parents.
Life.
And honestly, you know, I always kind of push back about calling our cats our children, but between the medical bills and then me trying to force feed him his meds, I pretty much know what it's like to deal with a toddler, I think, at this point.
I think you do.
No, you don't.
Well, you have special toddlers.
No, you don't.
You know what, Spencer? I'm going to give it to him. I'm giving it to him. Yes, he does.
No, until you have opened a door to a child that has smeared feces all over it and the dresser and herself, you have not.
Please. I guarantee Josh's cats have dragged their bums as they're crawling on the floor. We've all seen it. That's
they have.
That's kid behavior.
It's not the same.
I was that kid. by the way. And I was that kid well beyond my toddler years. I'll just say that.
Wait, dragging your bum or putting poop on the walls?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to segue again because we were talking about how Marianne doesn't want to do any Disney, and you want to go to all the Disney parks for your bucket
eventually.
list.
But we're just on a sabbatical from Disneyland.
Where again does Marianne want to go instead of Disney?
Hawaii.
Yeah.
I have an Am I the Rooster that I actually asked input from you and Marianne on, and I never heard back because you ghost me in everything but reels. Okay.
True.
It's true.
Reels are true friendship.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I put a laughy face even if I don't wash them.
Without further ado, am I the Donald Duck?
Oh.
My
Yes,
Guys,
he is.
Was that Donald Duck? Is he in the room with us right now?
I'm not going to say what I wanted to say because you can spell Spencer without an E. My wife Jess and I have been married for the past 13 years. We're both 39. After experiencing financial hardship throughout our 20s and early 30s, Jess and I are now fortunate enough to have the means to travel once or twice a year. The only problem is that Jess literally only wants to go to Disney World. We have been to Disney 9 times now, and every vacation we ever take together was to go there, including our honeymoon. So we go. We eat the Mickey Mouse ice cream. We wear the mouse ears. We stay at the official hotels. We see the characters and ride the rides. We take the pictures in front of Cinderella's castle, and we come home. Every trip. I'm honestly beyond sick of Disney, and I never liked going in the first place. Jess knows this, but she has no concept of travel beyond Disney. We're currently planning a trip for April, and Jess, as usual, said we can just go to Disney. I explained that it sounds fun, but hey, why don't we go somewhere like Hawaii this time? Jess was confused. She asked why would we go to Hawaii? I responded that we could enjoy the spas and go to the beach. Jess mumbled a half-hearted answer and walked away. A few days later, she approached me saying she made a hotel reservations for Hawaii. At first, I was excited because although she did so without consulting me, it seemed like she was really listening. But then she showed me the hotel she booked.
Alani.
I found she had made reservations for Aulani, the Disney resort in Hawaii. Frustrated, I told her that I'm honestly tired of Disney and that I just want to have a different experience this time. She told me that she was compromising with me and that I should be appreciative of the time she spent. I asked her if she was willing to consider anything other than Disney for our trip. She said no. At this point, I said that I wasn't going. Now she's furious. She canceled the reservation she made, and now she's looking for a friend to go to Disney World with again, without me. Was I the Donald Duck here for not trying to accommodate her request?
Okay, compromise is good, right? Compromise in marriage is necessary. Straight to divorce. This would be immediate divorce.
Kept going scorched earth.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, and I meant it too. Now this, I mean, obviously, longer conversations need to happen and kind of to stress out how much culture one needs in this world, and you can't just force that on someone, especially if they have the comfort food of Disney. But you kind of, someone needs to experience that in their own. I would just ask, like, one for one. Like, we will do another Disney World trip next year, but can we go somewhere radically different, even if it's not Hawaii, somewhere that has no Disney ties whatsoever, and just look for, like, basically, I will do whatever you want on a Disney trip if you'll give me a trip like a European trip.
You know, I would normally agree with you, Kent. But here's the key phrases in here that I think he's the a-hole.
Okay.
I think he's the Donald Duck in this. You're going to need to bleep that one out, Josh, because I screwed up. Jess said, as usual, we can just go to Disney. I explained, that sounds fun, but can we go somewhere different like Hawaii?
So you're saying he kind of gave her the hope.
He said Disney does sound fun. He's gone the last 9 years. In her experience, he likes Disney. That's their thing. They've gone 9 times. And he said it sounds fun, but can we go somewhere like Hawaii? So she found a compromise.
No, it's a compliment sandwich.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have read into it, and the fact that she's just saying I'm going to go with my friend and run off is a really bad sign for the marriage.
Well, I disagree in that regard because Marianne goes on girls' trips to Disneyland.
Yeah, but is she saying because you won't go?
No.
Like goodbye.
But I think that's something you have to communicate. Like if you don't want to go to Disneyland together,
it's fine for one person to go.
I can see doing it like every year is too much. And we, having gone 9 times in the past 2.5 years, 3 years, it was too much.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think we're kind of at that pace where we want to start going at least every other or every 2 years, just because there's so much more to see. And Marianne has so much to experience. I mean, she's been to Hawaii before, but she's never been to Yellowstone or a lot of the national parks and other places, or even in California.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and especially like if Marianne came to me and wanted to continue to go to Disneyland, I would just say, that'd be great. I don't have much interest, but if you want to go on your girls' trip with your mom and your sisters and friends and that, go right ahead. Like I'm fine. That conversation has to happen here. I think that's a good compromise.
I agree that a big conversation needs to be had. I think he was ambiguous enough, and he said, Disney sounds fun. Why don't we go to Hawaii? She compromised, found a Disney place at Hawaii.
Yeah, but if he had been more specific, that he would probably not, in the planning, be okay with it. So she booked it, so there's a point of no return when it comes to that. And there's no communication happening here.
She was able to cancel it.
But the thing is how Disney, though, is Alani.
It's not.
Exactly.
And almost like, let's say it's one of those trips where you spend so little time in a hotel, it may have not been too annoying to be at a Disney hotel, right? So you're planning excursions all day and you're like, sure, there's Disney breakfast or there's some event at night. Maybe that is a good compromise. But the fact that it was done without a conversation is the biggest red flag.
I mean, I think this is the first time we've all disagreed.
I know. Yeah.
On a Donald Duck one.
And I'm obviously, I just think it just takes a while to realize that you're spending the same kind of money for experience thousands of miles away in Europe or Asia, for example. You're spending Disneyland money for something that's a once in a lifetime opportunity, not an every year opportunity. But it does take education to get to that point.
Well, and this is a whole other conversation that we can have on another day, but I kind of feel the same way about Disney cruises. I know that that's going to get Spencer's ire there, but I'm like, I would much rather just go on, well, not necessarily a Carnival cruise, but like Princess or Norwegian.
However, with kids, Disney. I think Disney cruise is the way to go.
I could see that.
That's what I've said. If it was just Stephanie and I, we're going Royal Caribbean or we're going Princess or we're doing something else. With kids, especially young kids, I'm going to do a Disney cruise over any of the parks any day of the week.
Yeah.
Okay, so my answer is counseling and better conversations. Everyone's kind of messed up in the head.
No Donald Duck.
They're all the Donald Ducks.
Everyone's
because he was maybe too ambiguous and she's a little cuckoo.
Yeah,
she needs to work out her Disney level a little bit.
I agree. She does need to work out her Disney level. I think she came with a compromise based on
a compromise without communication, though.
Right.
It's a forced compromise.
I mean, you're 9 years into a marriage and you've gone to Disney World every year since, and she hasn't picked up.
I'm just saying,
communication's long gone.
This Redditor, is his name at Jacob Rogers, formerly of Baconsale, because his wife's name is Jess, and they went to Disney World every year, and he hated it. Just wondering.
This is Reddit, but let me check out the post history. Podcasting,
indeterminate jobs,
Reddit.
No, that's a really good question though, because it really is something that should be discussed. I think even before you get into a marriage, is like, what are our goals for travel? Like, what are memories we want to create? And if Disney is part of that, and maybe he said, okay, like that's the part of the story we don't know. he said Disney would actually be really cool for Disney adults. That's fine. Maybe he grew tired of it and just didn't communicate the fact that he is so done.
Yeah. No, I'm very adamant about that with my wife. And I hate saying that mainly because that's where we met and everything.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's just like, it's burnout, man.
Yeah, and you'll get back to it, I'm sure.
I'm sure I will, but I'm like, I would much rather go to Legoland, and granted now with Walt, that's just going to be going to Lagoon.
You can't even afford a pack of Lego.
Yeah.
No, you can't afford Lagoon. I'm sorry, Lagoon's like Disney prices now.
Well, it's $200 for a season pass though, which is what, $80 less than a day at Disneyland.
What?
So, still, I mean, they spent way too much money on their newest ride, and the reviews that I've seen are lukewarm at best.
Yeah, it's fine. Anyways, Spencer, I love it. But I think with that, Josh, you want to take us out?
Sure thing. You've just listened to The Other Show, starring Kent Dunn, Josh Hansen, and Spencer Myers. The Other Show is produced by Kent Dunn, Josh Hansen, and Spencer Myers. Show design and audio editing is done by me, Josh Hansen, and sales manager is Spencer Myers. The Other Show is generously supported by our friends on Patreon. A huge thank you to our Friends with Benefits tier. These friends are contributing a minimum of $25 a month, which in return comes with some rather significant benefits, including the weekly off-the-cuff episodes of The Other Show, monthly bonus episodes, quarterly live Q&A shows, and exclusive swag and perks. A huge thank you to our favorite Brit, Jonathan Vaskar, the lovely and talented Mrs. Robinson, the one, the only Chris Anderson, Brandon from Popfly Cards, Lady Terry A. Finley, the proud Disney mom, Tanya Budge, the other Keith Brown, it's Rick, not Dick Smith, Dave, and of course, our newest friend with benefits, Melanie Milring. To support The Other Show on Patreon, visit patreon.com/The Other Show to join. Please rate, review, and subscribe to The Other Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or wherever podcasts are found. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X. To better connect with us and other fans of The Other Show, join our Facebook group, The Other Group. For past episodes, links to our other shows, and to shop for show swag, visit our website at theother.show. And remember, when you're not listening to me here on The Other Show, you can hear me on my other show, The Party in the Back.
You can hear me on my other show, Baconsale.
And you can find me playing D&D with Brand B Bunny Sanderson.